We're back. We might be starting a little late today, but, you know, that's how life is. Now, before we start, I want to just point out a couple of things where I was using a little bit as my basis for voices. Mainly because I hadn't heard anything.
I'm sure everyone knows by now who it is.
Okay, I didn't really use it much for Naruhodo because, yeah, I didn't do it. Makotoba I did, though.
Susato Mikotoba, judicial assistant to the defense.
Even though I didn't use it much. We haven't heard Herlock.
Now, let us engage in the art of deduction. Mr.
Yeah, we'll see about that if I can
It's
pull
a
that.
great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson.
And I know I won't be able to do Iris Wilson well, but I was using Kazuma.
I'm determined to bring about change in our legal system.
And that's kind of why I went a little low with it, because he's got a little lower voice. We have not met this person, but I'm sure he'll show up later. Anyway, I had a little bit on that. And just some are just playing other games. But, let's pick up where we left off. And finish this case. Because they're not much. 140. Yeah, we missed that noon deadline, alright. Go to Judicia, courtroom number 2. Courtroom 2. Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense. But why this sudden ingress into my courtroom? Ha! You're just an assistant, and a woman, no less. The rules state that females are not permitted into this court of law other than to testify. Yes, I fully understand. I only ask for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that must be handed over to the defense. Ha! You're too late, girl. The trial has already been concluded. 5 minutes. I'll not allow a moment more. But, Your Excellency! I am most grateful. We're crowded of her. Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, there's no time. Please simply accept this for now. What is it? A report or something? Written in English? It's Jezail Brett research. The English ones? After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical facility and borrowed his paper. Oh, yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself. Oh no, of course not. Special characteristics of curae and its effect on human subjects. Interesting. Cura? What's that? I've never heard that word before. Time's up! The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom. There was too little time for me to read it in detail, but I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it. This is wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, it's under the court record. I need to look that over. Goodbye, then, and good luck. Court record. Court record. You've had long enough, counsel. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. Hang on. Let me look over my evidence, please. Poison made from a certain bark strain. Okay. I've used it since ancient times to incapacitate the prey. It's paralysis, the entire body, and subsequent death, even in minute doses. The effects when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as that inflicted by a blowpipe dart. Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed that this toxin can have applications of anesthetic. However, the solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of the full body paralysis must be found first, or patients would die of suffocation. I ask the prosecution of the defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but...
The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency.
Ryunosuke, we're out of options here. This really is our very last chance.
I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence.
Hmm? That look. That unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Very well, Miss Brett.
Yes, Your Excellency?
If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer.
It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not so very long until tea time. I'll have to politely decline.
Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems I wasn't clear. I realize it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat that as an order.
I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense.
I can understand that sentiment. My apologies, dear lady. So, counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention? We are presenting the poison report.
Yes!
Miss Chesail Pratt, we understand you were studying under Dr. Wilson at Yuma University, doing research. Research, by sheer coincidence, perhaps, into a deadly poison. What?
Poison? Where are you going with this, counsel?
A toxin?
A toxin known as Curair, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death.
Objection!
Oh, what complete and utter nonsense! Curair? I've never even heard of it!
You wouldn't have done.
What do you mean?
Yeah, that was a weird sound. I mean, you wouldn't have heard of Curair before for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country.
It doesn't exist?
It doesn't exist? That's right. That's Osanaga.
Correct, which means no matter what tests the police conduct for toxins, they'd never identify Curair. Why? Because there is no test available that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison. What?
Order! 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 Counsel, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report authored by the visiting research student from England, Curair has long been used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems that it's reasonably well known amongst European doctors and scientists. But to lace their arrows? To lace their arrows? The report states that it's produced from an extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle, and it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by the arrow laced with Curair suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Objection!
Trumpery! These aspirations are out of trumpery. To start with, if the victim had been administered some so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain, and the others would have surely noticed.
If that's true, what do you have to say to that, Inspector? Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that.
I don't remember anything like that, either. I didn't notice the professor be in any kind of pain.
According to this, however, it's the other way around.
What do you mean the other way around?
The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that Curair was used. Explain yourself, counsel. The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there'd be no visible signs of pain at all. But how terrible. Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects would go largely unnoticed.
But I don't follow, Cosmo. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death.
A full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe, it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail.
Respiration?
In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move.
Hideous.
To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly curative poison. And you're suggesting that this bottle, Counsel, actually contains the terrifying poison?
Objection!
This is all very convenient, isn't it? I thought you wanted known poison, for which there's no means of testing? What a happy tale for the defense. If I may. All these facts? You think you're so clever, but you must be taught something. It is you who must be taught. Of course. Dear lady.
I can't keep a straight face while doing that.
So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it? What? You steal another honest hard work, and then announce the results as if you'd discovered? I'm appalled. What a loathsome act.
Well, Miss Britt, the feeling is mutual.
Whatever do you mean?
Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime. That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Objection!
Enough of this! I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules. What's so funny? Oh, excuse me. Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Britt?
May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please?
Well, yes, I don't see, why not?
It's not the bottle that's poisoned, it's the glass she went away with. That's my guess, anyway. Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys.
Sorry?
To an Englishwoman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games and these foolish courtroom antics, it's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Cheers. Wait, what are you doing? No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair. There is a piece of evidence she absconded with. Come on, guys.
Anyway. I'm gonna taste attorney stuff.
Goodness, whatever is the matter? You all look quite stunned.
So, no cure. The bottle was clean. Is that what you're saying?
You look quite incredulous, little boy. But of course, that's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venue. Most kind. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett.
I would like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our companies.
Yes, dear lady. We're most gratified at the assistance you have given. This doesn't make sense. There had to have been poison in the bottle. So how? How did she...
How did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale?
I don't understand it.
Well, I suppose for nothing else, it's a little Far Eastern charade. Will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London. But there has to have been a poison in that bottle, doesn't there? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have been keeled over dead. Come on, Ryunosuke. Where have all the clues now? That bottle of water contains no poison. As I thought, there is no poison in that bottle.
What? Why, Ryunosuke?
Isn't it obvious? If there was poison in there, she'd be dead by now.
Sometimes your unadulterated naivete really astounds me. But sometimes it's in need of a good stinger. Till as dark as your uniform, the ways of the world.
Oh, is that what this color is supposed to represent?
That was a guiltless ending to a problematic inquiry, Counsel, for which you'll be pinced.
This whole trial is poison.
It has to contain poison, okay. Fine.
The culprit did put Curie poison in Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position.
You're serious?
Fool! Are you blind? There's no possible way the bottle contained poison. I mean, we just saw Miss Brett drinking the water from it. That's right. Which is rather complicates your argument, I think. And I believe the complication can be explained. How exactly? Need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. Sure, the answer is the evidence we have in the court record somewhere. It has to be.
Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume this supposedly unscathed?
Let's examine this.
Yeah, an interesting possibility. That's fine. We already went through it. Come on. So we don't... So it's not this. It can't be this. Hang on. Would it be her... Okay. Would it be her notes again? Hang on.
Yes!
In our own research report, yeah. That's not a valid explanation. No? After all, we don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. The Aberdeen Scout was trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency. I'm not trying to ridicule anyone, honestly. I'm just reading Susato-san's notes.
I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. You will direct us to the pertinent section, Counsel. Which section of the report reveals the alleged answer to the riddle? Practical applications.
It's written right here on practical applications, I think. Oh, really? Go on. Well, Think about it. You want to know how the poison can be drunk without it taking effect? That's a practical application. The poison's used as a drink, baby.
Objection!
Let's do better than that. In the 20th century, led by the likes of you. God, I'm sorry. I'm just. Yes.
Ryunosuke.
What?
Read properly.
Thanks for the concise advice. Let's. Okay, let's read through this. Ah! Special characteristics. Got it. Yeah, you don't have any more of the clue about the instinct stone than I do. It's completely intractable.
I concur. The report is too soon.
Its special characteristics. We've been hearing a lot about this curator poison. And it's left me curious about something.
Oh, Council?
Well, it sounds as though the indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years. To lace the heads of arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting.
So we've been led to believe, yes?
And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat. Get to the point, please! But if they were to use these laced arrows, and I'll take my damn time with this, doesn't that mean there would be trace of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat?
Yes, good point.
So surely the hunters would have wanted to eat their prey, wouldn't they? Because then they'd be eating poison.
Good gracious, Council. No, that would be madness.
But I actually found the answer to that conundrum. In this research paper here, under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound.
Through a wound, you say? I see, that makes sense.
Yes, the mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me, though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When curare enters the body through an open wound, it has a terrifying poisonous effect. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever. What?
Miss Britt, you authored this research. You knew curare's special characteristics. And you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself.
You meddling little rapscallion!
Well, Ryunosuke, it turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be.
Really? Me? A lawyer?
Objection!
Oh, this poison talk is fascinating, sure, but I fail to see how it possibly... So, the ill-bred little puppy is a new toy to play with. Some facts he read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly. What are you trying to say? Your schoolboy logic is a fatal flaw. Schoolboyish?
Flaw?
As even your brain has managed to deduce, curare is safe to ingest, so it seems unlikely its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric. It seems likely the effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric succus. Oh, yeah, well, of course. Gastric suckers? What are they? So, if this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he? No, you're forgetting the damn tooth extraction. That's right.
Good gracious.
That's basic science. Science even a schoolboy should understand. No. You're forgetting something, madam. You are a bitch.
Order! Order in court! Order! The logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they'd be affected in the same way. Are you trying to suggest?
Yes, this curare poison is completely irrelevant to the case in trial. Wrong! That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that. What is this welling up inside me? I've never felt like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey.
Objection!
I don't think so, Miss Jezail Brett. How dare you use that tone with me? You know very well there's no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead.
Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you. You must provide compelling evidence, as we now know the poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson have been killed by the Curer?
Medical report!
Take that!
As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners.
A fatal difference?
The toxic effects of Curer are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water? Inside? Yes, like the wound you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example.
Ah!
Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day.
So that's it. You use that knowledge to orchestrate this.
Is she laughing? I would like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are so puerile. What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough. You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No! I mean, it could just slip. Oh dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed.
No! What did happen? Stevenson, she smashed that bottle. That is the report. What a terrible blunder. Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect up as much of that water from the broken bottle as possible, at once.
You're wasting your time. The delightful carpet of my feet here is a gift from the British Empire. I assure you it'll soak the water beautifully. You have neither technology nor the presence of mind to recover it. How could you? You won't get away with this. You can thump the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy, but I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in the bottle, or not.
You.
And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right, counsel, for the prosecution? Oh, of course, of course. You're referring to this photographic print, I presume. That's right. And really, looking at this photograph, it's as clear as day, isn't it? The professor was sitting with his back to me. So of course the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
Objection!
No, you killed the victim that day, using Curer. And then, in order to frame Ryunosuke Naruhodo for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor dead in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the then professor and his chair around. You see, You had every opportunity to commit the crime.
What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. I didn't gun you, sir. And I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence. Exactly! And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. Johnny H. Williams, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Ugh. This is unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her, but now... Is she really gonna get away with it? Why did she destroy that evidence with the scene?
Ryunosuke,
Yes?
we've come this far, but now, you're the only one who can finish it.
What? What do you mean?
We've lost a vital piece of evidence. It's true. So if there's any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head.
In my head?
You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend on.
Well, yeah, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head.
So think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell.
What I saw, what I felt. Every color. Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in that vibrant memory of the same scene in my head. Could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? There is. Blood. Actually, Kazuma, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything, I might have uncovered another clue.
You always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Ryunosuke? Come on, then. Let's wipe that smug smile off this user's face with some evidence.
All right, I can't wait. It's been niggling me for a little while, and something feels amiss in my memories of it. Whatever it is could be the key to observing the truth about all this. It's here somewhere. Clues that show who Dr. Wilson really must have been.
And present.
Take that!
Inspector Hosonaga, answer me this.
Yes, what is it?
Oh, he's still miles away. Probably thinking about that bottle being smashed. As you said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you?
Absolutely.
I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of steak that you took the victim's table back there.
Attention!
Wait a minute! Where are you going with it? Where are you going with this, little boy? It's just a memory that's been troubling me. What memory? I saw the scene shown as photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw on that wooden base the little plate the steak was served on. It was a spatter of blood. What? Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him. Ah!
Yes. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter. Which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor, as you were. Jezail Brett.
I beg your pardon?
Attention!
This is beyond ridiculous, fabricated nonsense. And a court seriously expected to believe something that's accused is apparently just remembered seeing.
This could be the moment that my entire career in the police force has been leading to.
Inspector, you mean?
Yes, I took the plate, in the interest of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. I took it, meat and all, And I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it.
You did what?
I took the steak that you had been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak the sergeant had been eating. I did it all in the name of justice.
Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on Miss Brett's plate. We must examine it now.
Inspector, the court wishes to examine the plate on the victim's table. Yes, sir. Sorry for the delay. Here is what you ordered.
The steak. Well, what about the blood? Is there blood on it? Oh, of course there isn't.
Quickly, Inspector. The blood man. Show the court.
Of course. Examine the plate at your leisure. No blood? No blood anywhere? But, no. That's impossible. I know I saw it. I'm sure of it. Wait, that's not the same steak. It's right there on the table. There's blood on the side of the plate. You've turned in the wrong plate. What an unconventional expression, little boy. You see, this is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you. Ugh. I couldn't agree more. In this case, disgrace to the Empire.
I believe we may finally have reached a conclusion of this trial.
Let us hope so. This let's pretend attempt at courtroom proceedings is painful to watch. But I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over. Hang on, let me... The star looking sticker reveals facts all too clearly. Courtroom record, please. Hang on. That's not the same steak. You can see? No? It might be. It's a startling excuse, but you can again be my guest. A plate of steak has been added to the courtroom record. This plate I saw, or thought I saw, just a figment of my imagination? Well, let's examine the damn thing and make sure. Mm-hmm. Huh? What in the world is this?
I think it's a Koban coin, and the hallmark is from the Hoei era, I believe.
No, I don't mean what it is. I mean, what's it doing here? Wait, did you say it was a Hoei Koban?
Yeah, and apparently from the meat uses, looks to be in good condition. Or at least, I imagine it's very valuable.
The first time there's been a talk of a Hoei Koban.
I've heard of pearls before swine, but I've never heard of bullion and bullion.
I don't think you'll ever will again. This is extraordinary, though. This means... Yes, it does.
Anyway, yeah. Especially if I'm just going to sticker of meat. It's from the Hoei era, too. That would make it really quite valuable.
It's well marinated with the juice as well, look.
What, are you thinking of eating it?
No, but next time I order steak in an expensive restaurant, one thing's for sure. My heart's gonna be racing if I lift feet and peer underneath it for the prize.
I think you might have the wrong end of the stick about this, Ryunosuke.
A Koban going underneath the steak. There's only one logical explanation. Yep! Wrong steak, dumbass! This is it now. I've lost.
Ryunosuke, it's not over yet. Not until the final gavel. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward, no matter what.
Believe in myself? Really? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself.
As evidence requested, the defense is not shown problematic anyway. I presume further examination of the evidence of this trial will be necessary. Does the defense have any objection?
That bloodstain was going to clinch the trial for me. Can this plate of steak reveal any other clues at all? Your Excellency, please wait. That plate of beef is hiding another clue. Another clue that'll reveal the shocking truth. The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beefsteak. Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye to more unnecessary prosecutions trial.
I'm sorry, Miss Brett, but we must ensure a thorough examination of evidence. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled.
I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country. That's still your position, is it? Thank you, Your Excellency.
Counsel for the defense, you will now clearly show the court what you are alluding to. Where precisely on the new clue to be found?
There. I think that'll work, right?
Got it!
No?
No, Counsel. I'm afraid that won't do. It's ambiguous at best. When you're asked to identify detail like this...
Come on. The answer's right here in front of me. I'm sure of it. There's only one thing left to do. Turn the steak over and over until I find it.
Counsel for defense.
Yeah. Hang on. I don't want to present, but I do want to... There we go. So... Huh? What the... Yeah, I know. It's the same thing we've already been through. Yeah, I just didn't know I had to examine it again because I just put it back down there. Come on. Stop. Yeah, I'm gonna... And there we go. Right. Ugh. Come on. I thought it zoomed it in last time. But it didn't do it this time. And so now I'm just getting kind of annoyed because it's taking a bit. Hang on. I just really hate that I've taken 3 hits on technicalities. Stop that! I was trying to select it to... Point it as my... prediction. Okay.
Got it!
There we go.
Good gracious, that's...
Koban? What on earth? Oh, I ever wanted that.
I want that.
Miss Brett, this is in fact the beefsteak you ordered at the restaurant on the day of question, is it? Tell me, why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat?
Shut up!
What a ridiculous question. How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life. I don't know what this is, but I want no part in it. I fail to see how this is relevant. Coin under the meat? It simply could have been a careless mistake by the chef or more.
Objection!
Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe that this happened by accident in the kitchen. A rare Hawaii coin just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now.
He's right. It can't be a coincidence. Your Excellency.
Yes, Count.
A rare Hawaii Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll give it my lawyer job right now.
By all means.
By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway. Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it's you who's irrelevant. No, I'm the one on trial here? The point is, it's essential we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what's doing under that steak. The owner?
The owner?
Yes, it's obvious. There's only one person it can belong to. The owner of this koban that's found underneath the beefsteak is...
Kuryo Kurketa.
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be the antique dealer and the owner of Rasute, Kuryo Kurketa-san. Is it Mr. Cucumber something? Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable.
Ah, yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant. Correct.
Yes, Your Excellency.
I remember saying that he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened. The exact moment the gun was fired.
A gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Indeed, now I have Koban, my prize coin.
Goodness. Oh wait, you're a Koban. Do you mean to tell me?
No. Please, why would Kirketta-san's Koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and his plate? Makes no sense. Which is why I'm asking to bring Kirketta-san back to the witness stand, so we can ask him.
Officer, bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here. Without a moment's delay.
I can't believe we come back around to that pair again. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch, that if we chase down the real significance of this Koban, we'll find that it's a key element in this case. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is not her plate. This is, God, I didn't realize the stand was this huge. Did we somehow extend it?
What's all this about? Why have we been called up again? Don't you realize it's dinner time for little baby Ido? My son's belly is empty. He's fiercer than a pack of wolves.
Exploited by the police, we were. Like miserable dogs forced about false witnesses. And when I cast from this courtroom myself, I became ruined in a trice. A worthless, withered antique. Nothing more I have to say. The sun is set on this Rasute owner's existence.
Be that as it may, Korokata-san, something's coming to light that requires your clarification. As far as your Rasute memory serves, have you ever seen Koban?
Ah! Yes, that's it. That's the one. The very one. The exact one it is. The resplendent, undifferent, oh, I treasure that my rusty bones managed to replace that faithful dare. It can't be. As I thought. Young man. Enlighten this scrambled fool. Put me out of my misery. Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped? Oh, I'm not sure it was dropped anywhere.
We found your coin sandwich for your beefsteak in its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat's juices.
Sandwich? So, seriously?
Clearly, it couldn't have fallen there by accident. Which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose.
Somebody concealed my Hawaii treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate? Who could do such a thing? Such an unconscionable thing!
Excuse me. Could I say something?
Yes, of course.
Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga. I didn't give him the right to mention.
I mentioned this earlier on in the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case. Ah, yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation.
A carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant that attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the police bureau. Wicked crimes indeed.
We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being infected. So that's why you were sent undercover, was it? Yes, I took the job of a waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminal. It seems likely this Koban incident is the work of the same thief.
So unbeknownst to us, there was a master thief at work at the restaurant on a regular basis. The place was already the scene of several crimes, it seems.
I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid Koroketa's Koban is all too clear. What? What? Sorry, what?
I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Tell us, who is the despicable scoundrel?
Stag. guess it'd have to be Iasanosa. Because that would be the only option, because I really can't imagine it.
Take that!
Obviously. It can only be you. Sergeant Iasanosa. But what? How? How dare you? You monster! Monster? I stole that Koban, did I? I'm the master thief of La Carnival, am I? You're seriously accusing me of these crimes? Get out! But it wasn't me. It was Ido. Ido was the mastermind behind this. Okay. What? You would push the blame of your crimes onto your own son? An innocent little baby? It's you, the monster, Sergeant Nosa. Nippon Imperial Army, Sergeant Iasanosa. Prefer to stand down in the Supreme Court, sir. Do any of you know of the extraordinary low wages the Nippon Imperial Army pays those that expects to keep our country safe? I understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently ended conflicts remains in place, and I have heard it is hard for low-ranking soldiers to make a living. Yes. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son. That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant? The place is heaving with money. Every 3 days, I'd go there and do reconnaissance for a target. And I'd enjoy chopping my way through a good steak at the same time. It sounds like he doesn't bother with the night before, which is worryingly believable. And your target that day was the old man in his koban. Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin in my pocket without any trouble at all. A veritable phantom thief you are. I was all set to leave the steak. I was halfway through Devour when it happened. And now we get to the... Hey, you gave us the wrong steak, dumbass. Yes, when the professor was shot. I knew that if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, it would be finished. I'd have too. So I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could. On the double. I slipped it under the steak, hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date. This is ridiculous. Perhaps you could carry on with this start prattling in your own time? Well, Miss Brett. Oh, of course, dear lady, of course. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. May I esteemed gentlemen, please be excused, Your Excellency. Indeed. The theft of the koban was fully perpetrated by this baby-saddled sergeant. It would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder. Of course it is. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat. The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. Nonsense, is it? Well, And as for picking up your stick and biting into it without using a knife or fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Very well. Now that all the questions concerning this prisoner's testimony have been answered, I see no further justification for giving. Miss Brett, you are free to leave. Thank you, Your Excellency. Good luck, everyone. Except for she's the governmental adult. And good day. Renosuke, what's the matter with you? There's no time for danger. Oh, no, it's just something about Miss Brett's parting words that got me thinking. Can't quite work out what exactly, but something she said jarred with me. Feels like there was a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up. If that's the case, don't stand there thinking. Make your voice heard.
Sorry? You could think later, but you don't call out now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over.
Hold it!
Wait, Miss Brett. What is it now? I'm afraid, just one last time, there's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in parting words from just a few moments ago. What are you talking about? What contradiction?
Objection!
What new nonsense is this?
Well, what parting words are you talking about, Ryunosuke?
Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness. Yes, I'm right. What she said there has been exploded undeniable contradiction.
I'm going to need to see evidence, counsel. If Miss Brett's words truly are contradictory, where is the evidence to prove it?
So, you'll notice those are clear bite marks, not knife marks.
Take that!
The steak that Miss Brett had been eating before the professor was killed? Yes. Go on.
More accurately, Your Excellency, the steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed. Now you're just splitting hairs. Not true. Something that's about the steak striking was very unnatural. Unnatural? What on earth do you mean? It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten. I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett.
Noticed what exactly, counsel?
Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishman could ever contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a fork and knife. Of course she did. She's a fine English gentlewoman herself. Then take a good look at this steak, in particular the edge where it's been eaten. As you can see, there are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks here. Ah!
Oh!
Oh!
It looks like Miss Brett has realized something.
So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate anything without using a knife and fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all.
Objection!
What is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravenously hungry. Oh, whatever you say, dear lady. As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer. Oh, of course. That'll be over in a blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this rookie in his place. Just leave it. I've heard enough. You irritating little spectacle samurai relic. Of course. Oh, dear lady.
God. What's the matter, Miss Brett? Have we ruffled your feathers?
Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She's realized the catastrophic implications these teeth marks in her steak have for her.
Ryunosuke, do you know where we're going with this?
It's not her steak, yes, as we covered. Yes, now at last. It's all come together. The mysterious teeth marks in the steak that had allegedly been eaten with cutlery. The reason why the blood stain I know I saw somewhere somehow seems to have disappeared. And most importantly, the evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day.
I accept these teeth mark mistakes are a little unnatural, as you put it, counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that it tells us?
Everything, Your Excellency. Everything? Yes, I believe that these barbaric teeth marks of the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson. Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today? You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase, typical Japanese empty threats.
How could you be so sure?
Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it into the court long ago. Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet. Hasn't been... What? But just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist.
Objection!
This is absurd. The trial has run several hours already. You say there's evidence yet to be brought forward? There can't be. I don't believe you have it.
Objection!
I don't. But there's someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it'll solve the remaining mysteries about this case. Very well. I have a feeling this may be my last request to the defense of the trial. Who possesses the conclusive evidence that will reveal the truth about this whole affair?
Hosonaga, because we know he's an evidence thief. Anyway,
Take that!
the answer is obvious. Inspector Hosonaga.
What? I have it?
Yes.
You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? That's ridiculous. No. I'm not saying that. Everything's attention has been focused on this stake with the teeth marks. Yes?
Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told the court the following.
I'd enjoy chopping my way through a good steak.
And as well as admitting to stealing the Koroketakon's coin, he told us he slipped it under the steak.
You wretched cadet, I'm a superior officer.
Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the stake that you put the coin under, in fact, your own stake?
Attention! Affirmative, of course. I might be a soldier in the Imperial Legion Army, but still. I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentle lady if she'd mind me manhandling a meal to hide something.
In other words, the stake that detective submitted as evidence earlier was in fact Sergeant Nosa.
Objection!
But that makes no sense. The blade was taken from the victim's table. Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor does she have any opportunity to steal the coin. Of course I didn't steal it. Even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire.
Well then, how do you explain this paradox?
Exactly. Surely you're not going to suggest. The sergeant switched the stakes over. You did switch the plates?
Well, after it happened, when I saw this villain had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my stake into the coin under. But when the waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, I thought he had it. But he just decided to investigate my sled meat. That'd be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. But when the cadet here was arrested and taken out to the kitchen, I seized my chance. With military precision and timing, I switched my stake with the one on the foreign lady's table.
What? You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing.
It was called Operation Lightning. There was no time for strategic planning. It's do or die, I tell you. So yes, I did what had to be done.
Unbelievable!
However, fear not, prosecutor.
What now?
I swear on the brass buttons in my uniform. That's all I did, sir.
All you did? That's a penalty,
Yes.
Sergeant. So, if Sergeant Nosa switched the plates over, it means he took Miss Brett's steak and the plate it was on back to his own table.
Yes, that follows.
Inspector Hosonaga,
Yes?
earlier in this trial, you told the court this. You said that you had not only taken Miss Brett's steak after the incident, but also the sergeant's. To preserve evidence, you had taken both.
Ah!
That's correct. Then please present it to the court now. That plate that was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment he was shot. What could that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat can't have the slightest bearing on
Objection!
things.
No, you're not wriggling your way out of this time, lady. This time, lady.
I beg your pardon?
Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you're the reason why the steak pan promises to prove such a problem for you. No?
You're the ones who decided it was a problem, not me.
The reason the defense asked to see the plate was to confirm something the defendant remembers seeing.
Things here, members. I'm quite sure of what I saw, Miss Brett. On the side of the plate that was on the table directly behind Mr. Wilson, there was a clear spattering of blood from the gunshot wound in the victim's chest.
I believe the defendant's memory serves him well. And now we have the evidence to prove it. The plate you were eating from, Miss Brett. Let us not prolong this any further. Inspector, show the evidence to the court. Present the beefsteak and plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident.
Yes, sir. Sorry for keeping you. Here's the other steak in its plate. Please feel free to examine it.
The blood stain. It's clearly visible. Look.
Yes!
Now this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the plate shows at the moment the victim was shot. He was facing the table with his back to me.
In other words, it's impossible for Naruhodo-san to have shot the victim.
Oh. It can't be! In fact, there's only one person who could have possibly shot Dr. Wilson in the front. I'm sure everyone knows by now who that person is. That's right. It's Jezail Brett. It's you. Done by a Japanese? Me? By a Japanese schoolboy? No, no, no!
Okay, that was some amazing theatrics, and I love it. Now we have all of these chicks around. Oh. That's just absurd.
Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Most unbecoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me.
Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth this time.
Gladly, Your Excellency. It was I who took the professor's life, using Curer. As you surmised, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The professor had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning.
So you planned to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water. This cure is unheard of here in Japan.
Yes. Of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor take one sip of his water, and it would be all over. I would place the steak I'd ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he'd been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table. That would be me, I suppose. Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter, but the fact that you decided to come over and greet the professor meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was willing to sit in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that, so I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment.
A plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man.
I happened to know that the professor always carried a gun. I decided to use that fact to my own advantage. I had the bottle carrier in my handgun, and my own pistol concealed under my skirt. Under your skirt? So I was right. There were 2 guns. Yes. And then I finished my coffee. I got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor. A place where you were sure that I would notice it. And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun as I intended. And then, just as you bent down to pick it up, that's when you shot the professor with your own gun. Even though at that point, he was already dead. Naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared.
Obviously, I assumed Naruhodo-san was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry that adjourned to the kitchen and locked him inside.
That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor and his chair around.
Because, of course, you needed to make it look like the defendant shot Dr. Wilson from where he picked up the gun. You know, I'm still not sure of the motive here. That's the thing. But I guess it's not important.
So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Your Excellency,
Yes?
I wonder. Might I speak with you in private later?
I shall call on
Thank you. Good day then, everyone. I hope you can forgive me, Naruhodo-san.
you. God. We've now proven our case. It would seem this trial has finally run its course. I presume the prosecution is in agreement.
This can't be! Takatsuchi Ouchi does not lose! Not the likes of this rookie students!
You'd better start getting used to the opposition.
Let's get Naruhodo! Yes? This ends with the Ouchi family name. Would never be forgotten.
Yeah, not even when they become the Pains. Anyway. You become conceited with age, Counsel. But the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It is the way of the world. May you never forget that. 1,000 millennia have passed, and still the Yaoshichan will never measure up to the Naruhodo clan. I gotta say, that is some impressive reach, because clearly 4 people can stand side to side, like side by side. You know, is the distance between the 2 benches. And yet he still somehow swung his katana from the prosecution, like from the defendant to the prosecution. That's an insane reach. I thought, yeah. Sorry. And he's just gonna let that slide, but again, that's not too crazy. Von Karma whips the shit out of everyone, and nobody gets called for that, so. This trial in the Supreme Court of Japan will, I believe, go down in history as the start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system. Despite being summoned as the accused, you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, presented an excellent case.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
The use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern methodology. After all, it has only been a few short decades since our country opened its doors to the wider world. But Western ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that science will soon bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice. A new future of law awaits. But what will it look like? I cannot begin to imagine. That is for the young to pursue. Kazuma Asogi.
Yes?
After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all you can. Absorb everything of the wider world that you are able to. And do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you. I understand, Your Excellency.
What was that about? Why do you look so grave all of a sudden? Never mind. As for you...
As for you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo,
Oh, yes?
in you I sense, how can I put it, unusual potential. I very much look forward to seeing how you carry that on.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
It's time to deliver the final verdict. I hereby find the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, not guilty.
Oh, it's all Sakura blossoms. Isn't that fun? Not the usual confetti. Oh.
This court is now adjourned. 22nd November, 2:46 p.m. Supreme Court of Judiciary. Defendants, antechamber. 5.
Can't believe it. I can't believe what's happened. I made it. I defended myself and made it through that horrendous trial.
Ryunosuke, you finally pulled it off. Congratulations.
Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Kazuma.
No. It was a pleasure to watch you at work. So you owe me an entire life to Sukiyaki from the place on Yume University Street. Don't forget. Good afternoon. All your hard work has certainly paid off.
Good afternoon. You're certainly okay. Congratulations to both of you for proving Naruhodo-san's innocence. It's always hard when I don't know who's talking.
Ah, our trusty judicial assistant. You worked hard for that result too, you know.
Oh no, I didn't do anything. Thank you so much. If we hadn't had that research of Miss Brett's, I wouldn't know how things would have turned out. Your kind words should really be for my father. I was simply doing as he asked. It was his idea for me to go to the university to investigate.
Your father?
Sorry, your father? Ah, yes, of course. Forgive me for intruding on court procedures. Susato Makotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Speaking of Makotoba...
There you are. I believe congratulations are in order. Naruhodo, you did an excellent job.
Thank you, Professor.
Oh, no. It is I who should be thanking you. After all, your efforts exposed the true criminal that took the life of my good friend.
Good friend? Oh, yes, you mentioned that before. It was you who actually invited Dr. Wilson to Yume University, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Professor Makotoba studied overseas himself. He went to study forensic medicine in Great Britain. Presumably, that's when you met Dr. Wilson? Exactly. In those days, we worked together in the same hospital.
Oh, you worked together? Never heard you mention that before.
Well, it was a long time ago. Besides, it's your turn, Asogi. Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world in science, medicine, engineering, culture, and of course, in law. Watch and learn, my boy. See what's happening in the world's largest melting pot. I will. I'll learn all that I can. I swear on this, the spirit of the Asogi clan.
You're not taking that sword to Great Britain, are you?
Of course I am. A Japanese man katana is his soul. This blade shows me where I need to go. And cuts down anything that's in my way.
Yeah, I've definitely seen how sharp it is already with my own eyes.
That reminds me, what's happened to the woman? To Jezio Britt, I mean. After all, she's guilty of murder. Ah, yes, her. It's not easy to tell you this, but...
What do you mean? Surely she's gonna face trial herself now. She's the true culprit, after all.
She will be leaving Japan this very near future. For Shanghai.
What? Shanghai?
Jezio Britt will not appear in the court again in this country. I'm certain of that.
What? But why not? It's a matter of consular jurisdiction. Is that
Their consular jurisdiction. Just not. It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today. Very impressive to watch.
I must go. Oh, but what's this about consular jurisdiction? We cannot try this particular foreigner for her crimes here in Japan. What? We can't try her? But then who? Who's gonna bring her to justice?
A British consular will hear a case somewhere far away where our voices can't be heard.
But why a consular court?
Professor, I simply don't understand. I thought consular courts were a thing of the past now that we've signed the friendship treaty. Yes, in normal circumstances, you're right.
Then so long as this is not a serious incident of highly political nature to our respective governments, they can focus on a consular court just like that. Oh, can't they?
Yes, she's assuming, but it doesn't justify her government's making secret agreements about her fate, does it? Something strange is going on.
So Miss Brett can't be held accountable for her actions here in Japan.
I'm afraid that for the young student, today's trial was nothing more than a game all along. There was never any danger of comeuppance for her.
I don't believe it.
The British government of Foreign Affairs Ministry has demanded that we hand over custody of Miss Brett.
They're obviously taking this case of a foreign student committing murder very seriously.
But it's all going to change from now on. We can make it change. This is a time of great turmoil, this new era heralded by the start of the 20th century. One day, I have no doubt, that woman will receive the judgment she deserves. Yes, change is coming, and we're the ones driving it. Well, I think that's enough seriousness for now. The evening calls for a celebratory drink.
But, Professor...
You're right. There's no time for gloomy faces. We should celebrate Rinosuke's not guilty verdict. Let's start by having fun.
In that case, might I suggest Le Carnival? As the head waiter, I should be delighted to provide you with ample food and drink. Oh, you're a detective, Tosanagi-san, aren't you?
Let's not worry about the details for now. To Le Carnival. Will you accompany us, Professor? Of course. Le Carnival's food is second to none.
Shall I go ahead and attend to the paper for Naruhodo-san's release? Oh, yeah, thank you. So Jezio Britt won't be tried here. I suppose that means I'll never know. I'll never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson.
Kazuma. Yes, I'm Kazuma. Ryunosuke.
I just wanted to say thanks again, that's all. You really saved my skin today.
I didn't do a thing. You were the lawyer in there, weren't you? The defense was all your own work. Your skills made the difference, though.
Your skills made the difference, though. One day I'll bet you'll be the best lawyer in the world.
I'm not so sure about that. To be honest, something kept occurring to me over and over again during that trial. I couldn't help maybe think that you're the one destined to become a great lawyer, not me.
What? Come on, be serious.
If I helped you today, it's only right at the very start of the trial. But you have a natural talent for being a defense lawyer.
Oh no, not me. All that tense verbal combat? I never want to go through that again. I did what you told me to do, that's all. Because I knew I could trust you.
That's the point.
Sorry? What do you mean, that's the point?
Listen, Ryunosuke. You know what the most crucial weapon is that any lawyer needs in order to win?
Knowledge of the law?
No, the ability to believe.
To believe? To believe what?
A defense lawyer has to fight for his clients. He has to believe in them at all times. Like you believed in me
When I said I didn't do it.
I'm human, just like you. I don't have some superhuman ability to know the truth. But you have to make a choice about what you believe in, and stick to it when you're defending something. Sometimes in the courtroom, you can really be backed into a corner. But being able to remain faithful to what you choose to believe in, even then, well, that's not something anyone can do. It takes a special kind of person.
Believe in your client.
Just look at today's trial. I'm a student lawyer with precious little real experience, but you never stop believing in me.
Well,
You face seemingly hopeless situations time and again, but you never stopped looking for the truth. And in the end, you found it through your own efforts, and because you never stopped believing in me.
Thanks, Kazuma.
There's something I want to ask you, actually, Ryunosuke. Well, it's a favor, really. Something very important to me.
It sounds serious. What is...
Ah, you're still here, aren't you? Are you?
Oh, Inspector Osanaga.
I've arranged for rickshaws for us. Let's go. Thank you. We'll be right there. Let's pick up this conversation again later. We should be celebrating right now. Your first court victory.
And you're a study hero to Great Britain. Don't forget.
Ah, yes, that too.
So my very first trial came to an end. Kazuma, Professor Makotoba, Susato-san, who acted as my assistant, Inspector Osanaga, who didn't really play much of a part, but still. I mean, he did. He had the evidence. It was because of all the help. It was because of the help and support of all these people that I managed to get through that trial. But more importantly, Kazuma hadn't yet managed to ask his favor of me. Little did I realize just how much it would change my life. God, that's such a long case. Like, for a first case, my God, that was long. Granted, yes, throughout the entire series, cases get longer and longer. So, oh, let's see. So we have the Adventure of the Runaway Room, Clouded Kokoro, the Unspeakable Story, which then gets into, yeah. So, the Unspeakable Story, The Hound of Baskervilles. Oh man, that's gonna be fun. So I think we're gonna end up somewhere. Yep, the Unbreakable Speckled Band.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
Alright, January 6:37 a.m. On board the steamship Boria.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait.
Shh. That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. And in cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Sherlock Sholmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
Oh, it's throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Wait, I can't move. What the? Why the handcuffs?
Huh. So, you wake up now, huh? You wake up now. We have to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man.
You... Huh? You found me then?
We found you. Now you pay, criminal. How long were you hiding in that tiny corner, huh?
Sorry.
Now you have been found. It is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is.
No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Miss Susato? Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma?
You pretend you do not know? You are wolf in sheep's pelt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses.
What? Kazuma-sama. Well, Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Here in this very cabin. It was bolted shut from the inside. His body?
Please, do not try to tell us you are doing this terrible thing in your sleep.
Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. These handcuffs. Surely you don't think I have to know. I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please. Now. Oh!
So we never find out what that favor is, I guess.
Kazuma. It's just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure that this won't get in trouble?
Don't find fun being a stowaway. Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study?
There's really something else when they brought your luggage in here, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look.
Hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body.
Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you can find yourself to a cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you.
I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of stowaway.
They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure.
What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady?
From our faithful judicial assistant, Makotoba, you mean?
From your close friend, and more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away.
No, but if she knew that would be done, that would make her guilt by association. It's best that only you and I know about this.
I suppose so.
Anyway, it's about time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding by my traveling case, it'll be a breeze.
Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it.
Stop worrying. Tell you what, why don't you write keep out or something in this piece of paper?
What?
Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside.
I don't know. I've only been at sea for about 15 days. How could this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England. Together!
We'll leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer.
No, I'm not a bird.
Duh, you said it before. You said you admit to everything about their kind.
No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but... murdering my best friend?
No one else could have done it. Admit the truth.
Susato-san? Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you, too. Those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try and find out what really happened. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. And these handcuffs. They think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via the porthole window, and the bolt to the door can't be operated from the outside. In other words, after the crime, the victim couldn't have escaped these 4 walls. There's a vent I just saw, so... That's not entirely true. What? So you notice this little vent here? Might have been aware. Or to put it another way, the culprit could only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanations? This is impossible. How did he die then? What exactly happened? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Sada-san, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died? The ship's doctors examined the body, but of course, he has no post-mortem analysis skills. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted on our next port of call. So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then. That's true, yes. Can anyone tell me what actually happened here in the cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Cosmo? Presumably, that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin, after all. Oh, yes, I was, but... He would always wake up before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting inside his cabin, as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning, he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door, I wonder? I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. That's the right intonation. I gotta get used to that. It's gonna take me a bit to get used to it. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and we managed to get inside. There was Kazuma-san, collapsed on the floor. And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but just that's very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me too, trust me. Now I've told you everything that I know, so it's my turn to ask you a question. Yeah, alright. My head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yeah. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could I have occupied Kazuma-san's cabin for so long without him noticing? No, that would have been possible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why do you go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you?
It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself? Well, yes.
Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious.
You have a talent for it. I can assure you of that.
I've never really thought of becoming a lawyer.
Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. But it is the spearhead of cultural development, center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, is there?
Well, no, definitely not.
But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then...
Then what?
Nothing. Forget it.
Kazuma-sama is, he was always saying the same thing. That he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yeah, maybe. I keep switching out yes for yeah. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then. It was darker than I'd ever seen it before. Susato-san. I'm sorry that I kept it a secret from you, my stowing away on the ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right. Her word perfect, in fact. If you are not the culprit, then tell me, what happened last night here at this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And I got myself in that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep. I fell asleep? Well, yes. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable. Really, I do. But it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. But for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me. I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there's no one else who could possibly have done this. There's a cadence here I'm still having trouble, like, fixing on for Susato. He's gonna be the hardest character for me, I think, that. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry. But Kazuma was killed right under my nose here. And I didn't do anything to stop it. And I was supposed to just sit around? My hands tied while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Cosmo's life and why they did it. So, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Ah! What the? That was a Susato takedown. Susato what? What martial arts form is that? I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry? Prove it? Yes, you're innocent. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already what you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. Ah, I see. She's expecting you to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll share her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime. Yeah, this.
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes, it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always put this in place whenever I went to sleep in there. Just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Oh, yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened it. But if I truly were the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? Well, in light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here, at least. Thank you. So you finally believe me? I'm sorry. No. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you use some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. What does she think I am, a magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work, Susato-san. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you to use your conjuring trick to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I'll avenge your death. Okay, nothing new there. Time to examine stuff. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma. He didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Ah, yeah! That settles the question. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed from this world. But you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like daring into people's personal matters either, but in this case, is the need for clues more important? Oh dear, that's one to do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly. Ah, yeah, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard. Are you, Naruhodo? I'm going a bit fast. Yeah. I'm sure to be careful to go around using B and M. Yes, it's all about the bell movements. That's so terrible. Anyway, now let's investigate all corners of this cabin. Yeah, let's do that. Even though I feel vision has been rather small until now. So, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry, it's gonna do that again because I hit space and that's a problem. There we go. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Oh, this ventilator. That's what it is. Looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to. You're right. But its purpose is to allow fresh air, though. Surely it should be connected to the outside. That is true. Perhaps so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough, or something like that. I suppose, maybe that's it. Yes. It's a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can use to pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Really, that sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes, in the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's that everyone is busy. That's all. Some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh, no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting, making this voyage in your own secret hiding. The trouble was I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yeah, I basically did have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what is happening out here in the cabin. No, sadly not. That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yeah, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. It was brought aboard and signed out in the case. Ah, yes. I see it says "this way up" in Japanese. Which in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewman wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. Did Cosmo write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pots from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Why would he have written it in Russian, though? Then I suppose he wrote the message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of clue in his final moments, was he? Oh, I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. What language is it? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? Who's that? He wasn't here a minute ago. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he... You've noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got here, but he looks suspicious and tall. Suspiciously tall. Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. Doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And he's investigating Cosmo's desk, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk to him. Am I just imagining it, or does Susato look almost like uncontrollably excited? By the way, I suspect you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press space on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. Oh, excuse me? Excuse me, do you have a moment?
This is a critical point in my investigation.
Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best.
Greetings. I hope I haven't kept you long.
What exactly were you doing on Cosmo's test just now?
Ah, I see. Fascinating.
Sorry? What do you say? Feels like he's just looking right through me.
Oh, yes. Everything is clear now.
That's about right now. The train of reasoning has run its course.
My deductions have crystallized.
You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, whilst venturing towards foreign times,
You find yourself in a most troubling predicament.
oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really the most elementary deduction. Hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russian, being as you are merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of your assassination in your wake, and you now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the bereaved occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you're talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did this to Cosmos. What? And you're plotting a revolution, too. Shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen. There's no way I... Ah! Hey? Now, explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. How could you do it? For pity's sake. For pity's sake, I'll be right. I'm not a Russian revolution, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head.
Ah, but was I not right?
Whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you too find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Do you not? Well, yeah, maybe. Ha! There you have it. See? What do you make of that? Well, to be honest, the ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of the murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it a deduction. It's more of a plain observation. Indeed. And my observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see, and I announce my findings with brassy certainty. And more often than not, I'm right. I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women all over the world over, the inimitable Sherlock Holmes. So, it's really you, the actual Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes. So, I messed that up. The very same. The imitable, actual Sherlock Holmes. Do you know this man, Susanna-san? The most famous detective in the world, Naruhodo-san. Of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He would have worked out the entire case, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Because it's gonna be wrong. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I'm none other than the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Oh, I see. You're German? Herlock, was it? No, I have no hair. I mean hair. I have hair. Please, call me Sholmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh, yes, Grant's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Ah, yes, here it is. The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then? Indeed I am. And you read so many of your own stories, you're starting to think you really are a detective? Make no mistake. I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer records my detecting achievements and chronicles them in a magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Is it everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson. I'm presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. By this very moment, I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really, I can't work on whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you say, to me is a science. Logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subjects. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows of the skin, all these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated a few short moments ago. How can you look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I returned both for observation and deduction. And fact. That is what makes me the one and only, Herlock Sholmes. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow? My dear fellow. Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in this most cunning hiding place? That's right. He was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Cosmo-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself amongst their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective, Herlock Sholmes, was on board. And the handcuffs seemed to be excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, 2 facts were immediately apparent. Oh really? 2 facts, you say? Mr. Sholmes, please tell me. What 2 facts were apparent to you when you came into the cabin this morning? Oh yes, but first, let's be precise. The 2 facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The 2 facts that I deduced from the mere momentary glance at the scene of crime are as follows. Number 1, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number 2, the victim was a Russian, and killed following this feud with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. What made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by a victim on the floor. Oh, that is the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Cosmos could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue fulfilling their heads. For this young man, Russian. Cosmo was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Gardnerov, maybe the name of a killer. A certain Robert Gard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there, at least. Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so. I found you the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea the detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message that I might analyze for possible hidden details. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yeah, Cosmo had already taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you. Why do I always keep doing that? Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What's right? What, right? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that. Oh yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? Rudolph. Certainly, if it interests you. How many times? I'm not Russian, and I don't speak Russian. Did we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean. Oh, the now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 power. Oh yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning paper. The main headline reads: Revolutionary villainous Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Cosmo Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Cosmo-san wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of the crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you. Villain Bolshevik. No. How could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you're a fearsome revolutionary, after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learnt to revolutionize your appearance as well. Ugh, please. And, I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passengers. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 6-time distance of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower? Ah, yes. The journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds of the man is perpetrated thus far, and those used plausible. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There could be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters? I wonder. And what about the part where you said I was returning from Afghanistan?
Also, quite clearly stated here in the article.
Bolshevik has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in the war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is that anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself. It's a little memento of this great deduction. Thank you. I was told all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. And you may find the article on the back of the page is interesting as well. On the back? Cast your eye over it sometime if it interests you. But you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't help but read it. But does everyone hurt to glance at the article? Maybe there might be a picture or two. So let's look at that while he mentions it. This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I, but look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know, but I can't make any sense of it. Oh, I'm glad you noticed this article. Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. Toss it everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavola. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found missing, from a dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money. Someone's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is property of the Novovich Ballet, which would seem the director himself is beside it. But yeah, I'm not surprised. The company's most anxious to both Miss Pavola and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports, with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Okay. That's fine. Okay, now that we've done that. Let's see if there's anything on the back of this. Well. Oh, these must be remnants of the glue you used to stick the paper seal on the wardrobe. That's right. Here's pulverized rice. Pulverized rice? Yeah, I pulverized some of the rice for my evening meal. Even though it broke my heart. Broke your heart? What do you mean? Remember, I'm a stowaway on the ship. All I had to eat were Cosmo's leftovers. Even a couple of grains of rice could have meant the difference between life and death. No. Oh my, it must have been awful for you, Naruhodo-san. But I have some glue with me as it happens. You're welcome to use it this evening. Oh, sorry. Oh, thank you very much. It doesn't matter. You're not going back on there now. Oh, okay. Yeah. Before we started talking, you were examining Cosmo's desk, weren't you? Cosmo? Oh, yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe. For a moment, it's the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London Diary. Cosmo's keeping notes to the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, I believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. I see. Well, you're about to know what a sort of takedown is. Susanna-san? Aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter of hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is complete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of his writing? Pray, be precise to the detail. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, Mikado. Naruhodo, I trust you're suitably impressed. But this diary is littered with complicated characters, of which I can proceed precisely no. So what was all that about showing off about Porygon? If you would be so kind to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Schultz. I'm much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? Ah, these are very deep waters. Pray go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Speckled band? What does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice here on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Cosmo's diary has been entered in the court record. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Ah, do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe. And if I'm still too long, seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to. Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence, the truth will become clear soon enough. You perhaps think that we could go with you? No. That would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answers. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No? There's no point in trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you're clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. But actually, Mr. Schultz, I did hear you say that too. Quite sure. Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you were the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So what, were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then, and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? We must go investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can... Hiya! Dr. Kazuma-sama spends his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue. You're willing to give up? You're just going to roll over and accept your fate? Ugh. As if he gave me any choice of the rolling over part. I think we still have an investigation to finish off here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look too good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this, and bring the real culprit to justice. Well, let's go and finish our how the other happened. These are the rules of passage for the travel aboard the Protea. Literally a list of requests for the captain to all passengers on it. It's essentially okay. I've been wrong for a second. It's fine. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Oh, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. Books have fallen over on this shelf. Look, they've all toppled over the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yeah, it's almost like the whole shelf has been ransacked. And everything mown down at once. I wonder if perhaps it was Kazuma-sama doing his morning sword trip. Do you think? I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage. Wouldn't have bothered leaving the word just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just set everything right again. I don't like to see a mess. That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yeah, I was always saying that a Japanese man katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. And now he's gone, but I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. That's my dinner from last night, a roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate it at the table, of course. It begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no, does that mean what Kazuma-sama meant is that night on Earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. There's nothing going on at this table at all. The plate and cutlery are all over the floor for some reason. Yeah, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still. No, wait a moment. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Kazuma. No, 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 no. See. Japanese word for justice. The first strokes are straight and through, just like Cosmo. Yes, his calligraphy was a reflection of his heart. Yet you, can you really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on this ship. Now you're gonna bring that up, are you? I can't win. Let's make sure there's nothing else before I go to talk to him. So we checked that, we checked that. Okay, we're all good. Okay, we'll check one more over here. See if there's anything I could have possibly, and I do mean possibly, missed. I don't need to, but I want to. When I went for help and the crewman forced the door open. This bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt, and not particularly sturdy. And it just slides across to shoot the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would have been no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense up all and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel that the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from the outside in the room, outside of the room, in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all the way up and down my spine. Excuse me. What? I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. Would you mind if I investigate a little outside? Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes. But it is not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking prison guard to help him escape? Very funny. We're in the middle of the sea. There's no chance of me escaping. Yet, you'll stay in this cabin until next port. Then it is up to Hong Kong police to decide what they do with you. You stay. Alright. There's no point in trying to appeal to this man's better nature. That's for sure. Let's make a sweep. See if I missed anything. I'm not gonna do it, but I can't find anything out of place. That so-called detective, I'm even more stuck inside this cabin than I was before. For the time being, I'll suppose I'll just have to focus my efforts on investigating. Well, what am I missing, then? Okay, so... What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was appears to have been broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little screw fastener for a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Cosmo. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? And the mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It has sort of a brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It's the color of brick, isn't it? You know, it's anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. Oh, look over there. That crewman, do you mean? He wasn't here before, was he? That's what I thought. I don't really try talking to him. Probably because I'm likely to get yelled at again, but I suppose I could try. Is that... Is something wrong? Is something wrong? Naruhodo-san? Oh no, it's just the crewman is standing by the door. I kept a feeling I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir?
Yes, what can I do for you?
I recognize that face, but it can't be. I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Hello again. What are you doing here?
I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped.
Nearly stopped, I hoped.
I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board this ship.
Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector.
If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask.
I never expected to see this man on board, but perhaps his presence could help me out of this hopeless situation. Converse! So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew?
I'm sorry. So sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility.
For what?
My orders were to act as a Sogi-san's bodyguard. As Minister of Justice Chikoku pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that a Sogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated.
Assassinated? How could that even be a possibility?
I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities.
This is incredible.
I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated. Obviously, we couldn't give a Sogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew.
I see.
Didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin. Not here on the first-class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize.
Inspector.
So if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word.
Great! Well, not great, but, you know, helpful. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves.
I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer.
Of course not. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door.
Yes.
So we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship already.
Safety. If you moved even to touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck into it.
I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. I think I'm a murderer as well.
Would it be possible? Give me something to work with, do you think? I'm gonna need something persuasive.
What do you mean? What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how. There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo, by presenting me with a piece of evidence that you had already had in your possession. Evidence, huh? Evidence? It's just the same as when you were in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply selected the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yeah. I think I might know what we can use. Of course, this is an investigation chapter. I can't fail here, but it's pretty obviously what they want, right? Present. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator. A speckled band? That is strange. It is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that, but I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. The ventilator clearly joins this door to the next door cabin. That's right. So if we can investigate in there, we might be able to work out what that speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs now. But what about the captain? Going against his direct orders. I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line. That's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep a Soyuzan safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then. Let us seize the moment again. Naruhodo-san. Just the next move, and we can leave this cabin at last. Well, alright, let's see what we can find out. And away we go. Finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be. And this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on his study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even so, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. I saw the crewmate keeping watch. He looks enormous, even if he is sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs? Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you would be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yeah, I know. But the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. This must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look.
Don't give me that pitying look. Oh god, I've kind of switched my intonation a bit. Ugh. Well, it's fine. Well, let's get some information. It looks like a plan of the SS Burya. Shows each deck, look. The Burya is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. A marvel of engineering. It's been playing on my mind for a while now, exactly. But how does this big lump of metal nose just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, they're not missile. They are enormous lumps of earth. Many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea ever since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. That is a sign of the times and absolutely wrong. But there's a huge book on top of the table there. There's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every little detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. Huh. You would expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. Nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment. But, you know, it is what it is. One moment. Just give me a minute. Yeah, how's that? Okay, sorry, had to deal with something real quick. It's fine. Okay, well, let's do that. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Certainly that means there's nothing to report. That can't be the case, because if everything was already knocked over. But we already tampered with the evidence there, so that's fine. Let's look at some more. That said, I do think, let's see, what is it? G-for options? I think we're at a point where I just need to save and call that a stream. We will pick this up next week. So, let me first today. Alright, this has been a ton of fun. But, yeah. So let's do the plans. So, I'm streaming tomorrow. We're doing No More Heroes 3, Power Trilogy Tuesdays. Finishing that out. Like, I'm pretty much guaranteeing we pull that off. And then we'll proceed to plan what we're doing for the next trilogy. Which I think I already said, but I'll say it again after we finish finish No More Heroes. So, it'll be a good time. And then, Wednesday, I'm not streaming. Thursday, we get a special treat. Well, I would have already said it, but I'm going to keep it under my hat until we start it. That said, we're not going to finish whatever it is because, like, what is it, next week? We've got both Princess Peach Showtime and Dragon's Dogma 2 coming out. And even if I won't play all of Dogma 2 on stream, I'm going to at least, play a bit of it. And I probably will do Showtime on stream because it doesn't seem like that's going to be as long of a game. So, it's going to be what it's going to be. Friday, we'll try and do EDF. We might do... Or, hear me out, we might just continue more of the Thursday project. We'll see where I'm at. Because if I do want to get through it, then we might do that. We'll see how it goes. Saturday and Sunday will be more Yakuza 3. Because, yes. Then, next Monday we'll be back on this. So that's the plan for a week at a glance. Now, if you want to get caught up on this series or anything else we've done in the past, hey, check out the YouTube archive at youtube.com/@proto042. That is, where it's all going to be. And I'm usually going to upload these things the day, they'll be up the next day or so. So, yeah, go check it out if you want to get caught up on it. It's good stuff. Now, having said that, hope you enjoyed the stream. because I've enjoyed streaming it, even if it's a lot of voice acting, and that's a little taxing. And I'm having sometimes a little bit of trouble maintaining a voice. Like, it's hard. It's a little taxing on the voice. Anyway, hope you enjoy the stream. Have a good one. Bye.